This pair of fronts is triggering our WRAL Weather Alert Day. The biggest threats that we're looking at today and the light at the end of the dreary tunnel.
Downpours creating problems on the roads, where we're seeing flooded roads and trees down in the WRAL storm tracker. New to date, the NTSB opening an investigation into the crash on I-95 that killed 5 people. Why the Nash County Sheriff warns we could see more crashes like this on that stretch of interstate. Right now at 7, taking a live look at an active radar tonight. A line of storms moving through our area, and that is why we have issued another WRAL Weather Alert Day. Thank you for being with us tonight. I'm Ashley Rowe.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. Heavy rain on the radar. It's been there most of the day, hasn't it?
Most of the week.
Yeah, exactly. Pouring outside, but it has been causing a lot of problems all weekend tonight as well in Wake County. Flooding, falling trees, a lot of power outages as well. We have team coverage on all of the impacts for you. We're going to begin with meteorologist Mike Mays in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Mike, fortunately, the threat is starting to wind down.
It is. The worst is over for us here in the Triangle. It was around 2 to 3 o'clock that we had this band here over us. And boy, the rain was coming down to beat the band. We have flash flood warnings, flood advisories. Now that line has congealed and is heading down east toward the coast where there's actually a level 1 threat for severe weather. Earlier today, we had that threat upon us, but it was scrubbed, so to speak, and shifted down toward the coast. So our threat for any severe weather other than flooding was non-existent. And you can see as we shift to the east, still flood advisories for all these areas highlighted in the green polygons till 8:15, which includes Sampson County and Wayne County. Any flooding threat has subsided here in the Triangle. And with all this rain moving away, our flood threat has ended. And we're not going to see a repeat of this tomorrow. We're not going to see a repeat of over the weekend. We'll just dry out as we get into the weekend. Fayetteville still seeing a little bit of light rain. So is Bladen County, or at least heavier rain. Sampson County continues with the rain, and some of our far eastern counties, if you're watching from Goldsboro, Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, the Kinston area, still seeing some of that heavier rainfall, but that will be out shortly. Futurecast reiterates that fact. By 8 o'clock, still our eastern counties seeing some of the rain. And I think overnight, all we'll see is just a little cloud cover, or I should say a lot of cloud cover, and a small chance for a shower. Some of us will see rain on Friday with the cold front. I'll show you where that would occur coming up in less than 15 minutes, Dan.
And all of that rain creating some problems with saturated soil and trees falling over. As we take a live look here at the WRAL Live Center, pictures just in from the southwest part of Raleigh on Trailwood Drive where trees fell on power lines. You can see crews out there trying to get that cleaned up. There is a small power outage there just off of Avon Ferry Road. Also in Carrboro, we have about 1,400 customers without power right there in the downtown part of Carrboro. Pretty big power outage. At this point, we're not sure if that is weather related. Now let's check in with Aaron Thomas in the WRAL Storm Tracker up on Capitol Boulevard in Raleigh, where the floodwaters have been a little slow to recede.
Yeah, well, Brian, in fact, let's show you right now, just within the past hour, an hour ago, we were not able to do this, walk around freely in this U-Haul parking lot because of the high waters of a nearby creek. You can see right now at 7, there's been a lot of recession from the water, but we want to show you what conditions look like just about 30 minutes ago. We saw several workers with U-Haul working to get some of these trailers, move those to higher ground. We spoke with some of them. They say that this area, with it being in a low-lying area, this area is prone to flooding, and this is likely the 4th time this year that they've seen something like this. Of course, we've seen a lot of these flash floods. The water comes in, and then it's also quick to recede. So join us on our late news beginning at 10 on Fox 50. We'll show you some of the areas hit hardest around the Triangle. Aaron Thomas, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
All right, thanks to Aaron, Brian, and Mike. And make sure to download that WRAL weather app. That way you can take the radar with you anywhere you go. It is free to download.
In just the last hour and a half, we have learned the National Transportation Safety Board is investigating this crash on I-95 in Wilson County that killed 5 people yesterday. Also today, the truck driver accused of causing the crash appeared in court for the first time on 5 counts of misdemeanor death by motor vehicle. Now, some people are raising concerns about the dangers of that highway. As WRAL's Heidi Kirk reports, law enforcement has been warning people about the dangers for years.
We were the only TV crew inside the Wilson County Courthouse earlier today when Charles Haskell was read his charges for the wreck that happened on I-95 yesterday. Now, many people have called I-95 one of the most dangerous highways in this area, including the Nash County Sheriff, who's urging people to slow down. The aftermath of a deadly wreck.
We had 4 fatalities at the scene.
That number now 5 after state troopers tell us this tractor trailer failed to stop, driven by Charles Haskell. WRAL News captured this video after arriving on scene. We've been reporting for years about crashes on I-95. Nash County Sheriff Keith Stone tells us reducing the number of fatalities has been a focus since he got in office.
You have a lot of traffic out there and a lot of high speeds.
Sheriff Stone tells us the news of another accident isn't a shock, especially where it happened, near a construction zone where it went from 2 lanes to 1.
I've always said if that's interstate traffic stops, somebody's going to get hurt or die. And this is the cases that we're seeing more and more of. And I know DOT's working very hard to expand areas and make them better, but we're running 15, 20 years behind.
He tells us it's a problem he worries will only get worse.
Now we have more traffic probably now than ever before.
And now, again, people have paid for it with their lives. Now, Haskell is due back in the Wilson County Courthouse on October 18th, and this is a story that we are going to continue to follow. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News in Wilson County.
And all new at 7 here in the WRAL Live Center, Raleigh's police chief is responding to a social media post that involves a Raleigh police officer. This image of Officer D.C. Twitty says, "Juneteenth is a made-up holiday. Today is my birthday, and it's been that way for 38 years. You're welcome for the day off." Now, in the past 30 minutes or so, Chief Estella Patterson says that Twitty is on administrative leave while the department investigates that. She reiterated that Juneteenth is a federal and city holiday, and she also wrote, as you see here, "We expect our employees to hold themselves to the highest standard of excellence that reflects favorably upon the organization, both on and off duty." Now, WRAL's Carly Haynes is on this story right now. Look for her reports tonight at 10 and 11 here on WRAL News.
All right, Brian. We now know the name of the man who drowned in the Neuse River this week. The Wake County Sheriff's Office says 59-year-old George Williams was found after a 10-hour search near Raleigh Beach. The city of Raleigh has since decided to block access to that area after several people have drowned there. They're working on next steps, but for now, only city and emergency staff will be allowed in.
A Duke Health nurse is behind bars on 20 counts of exchanging video and images of child pornography of children as young as 2 years old. 42-year-old Vicky Sutter was arrested by Raleigh police Wednesday after receiving a cyber tip. She's in jail now under $240,000 bond. Warrants state that the offense occurred in July of last year, and each charge carries 88 months in prison if convicted. Duke Health told WRAL the hospital employee is now on administrative leave.
The Fayetteville mother accused of murdering her 2 children, Blake and London Devon, was transferred to a detention center in Raleigh. Avante Devon is now at the North Carolina Correctional Institution for Women. She was designated a, quote, safe keeper. Essentially, that means an inmate has security or health concerns of some kind. A judge approved transferring her to a facility better suited to handle those items. Coming up tomorrow night at 6, you'll want to tune in. WRAL's Chris Lovingood brings you an interview with a woman who approached WRAL Investigates and says Avante Devon abused her, too.
The search is on now for some possible forever chemicals in neighborhoods near Fort Liberty. The Army discovered the cancer-causing agents in groundwater there at 3 locations on post right near the town of Spring Lake. WRAL's Gilbert Bays spoke with some military leaders who are asking residents to let the Army test their well water.
Now, many of the areas that the Army wants to test have abandoned mobile home parks on them. But at some point, people lived there, and those people were drinking well water. Thousands of gallons of firefighting foam were used to put out the flames during the Green Ramp disaster at Pope Air Force Base in 1994. I know. I was there and covered the crash that killed 24 soldiers and injured more than 100. The foam dripped off the planes and onto the ground.
The area you reference on the Green Ramp, the groundwater flow is towards the Little River, and so because that is migrating towards the installation boundary, that is definitely one of the areas that was an area that we did the sampling.
Fast forward to 2022. A site inspection on post found groundwater beneath Pope Army Airfield, Simmons Army Airfield, and other on-post areas had concentrations of forever chemicals. What triggered the Army to say, hey, we need to take a look at this?
So the Army looked at where has historically any PFAS-containing materials been used, and that's with primarily the firefighting foam.
So far, only 12 of the 122 potential off-post well sites have been sampled. So as you can see, this area used to be Pope Air Force Base. The Army asking anyone who lives nearby who has a well to let them test it. In Spring Lake, Gilbert Bays, WRAL News.
Governor Roy Cooper made his first appearance as a surrogate for Kamala Harris's campaign today, but he didn't have much to say about the swirling speculation that he is one of her top candidates for VP. Cooper was asked directly about the process. He didn't deny he's being asked to supply materials for the vetting process, but he declined to say more.
There are a lot of people that she can choose. She's going to make the right choice. I just want her to choose the person that gives her the best chance to win. Yeah.
Cooper got the unanimous recommendation of the North Carolina DNC delegation. Still ahead, I've been talking to young voters on both sides of the aisle as we get closer to the election, and they're paying attention. Hear what they have to say coming up. Plus, after days of delays and cancellations for flyers nationwide, some better news to report at RDU next. As you've probably heard by now, pop culture and politics combined to make quite a splash on social media this week. For one, a young musician, Charlie XCX, pulled Vice President Kamala Harris into the Gen Z zeitgeist when she tweeted, "Kamala is Brat." Brat's the name of Charlie XCX's music album. It's an energy, really. And as you've probably seen, the memes and the comments quickly followed. You see a couple of them there on your screen. Frankly, I'm too millennial, too old to speak with authority on this. So here's how the head of the state's Democratic Party describes Brat energy.
You can just be yourself. It doesn't have to be something that's made up. And a lot of our generation's grown up in an Instagram generation where like everything has to be picture perfect. And it's like Brat says, no, you can be messy. You can be yourself. You can be whatever you want to be.
I've been interested in taking the pulse of young voters in this election season. And to do this, I wanted to talk to young voters who are also young political organizers, people who are trying to build community aligned with their political views. In 2020, when the White House was on the ballot, in North Carolina, 60% of registered voters ages 18 to 25 voted. In 2022, the midterms, that dropped by half to 24.1%. In the primary elections this year, less than 8% turned out to vote. So they seem to be much more engaged in general elections based on those numbers. With that, let me introduce you to a 19 years old, who will be voting in his first presidential election in the fall, has already been called by a local newspaper one of the best political strategists in Robeson County for the Republican Party.
It's becoming increasingly difficult to buy a home. It's becoming increasingly difficult to afford groceries, to buy clothes, to buy anything really that I need or that other college students need to be able to succeed and to be able to thrive. And so that's the issue that's top of mind for me this election. And that's how I'll be making my decisions when I cast my vote.
So he is quick to say he wants to vote for Donald Trump. Another young political dynamo is the woman who helped us decode Brat earlier. This is her in a different scene, 26-year-old Anderson Clayton, the youngest state Democratic Party chair in the country. Here's what she says.
And I think it's important for young people to see someone that's represented their issues at the national level so voraciously, like abortion rights, like LGBTQ rights. I feel like she's always been the champion of issues that young people right now, that my generation is seeing in this country.
So there you have it. Much like voters older than them, young voters have differing priorities, differing views on what they want America to look like. But what is clear to me from talking to a variety of young voters is that they are paying attention and they want to be in the conversation, Dan.
The young voice is so important and will be very important to this election. Ashley, very interesting piece. Now, you might remember this. This was a while back. This was a scene at RDU last fall. There was a Tesla there that caught fire. You see the shell of it. Well, this is one of the tools to fight that sort of thing. A local fire department is preparing for the possibility of electrical vehicle fires more often as the popularity of those vehicles grows. According to the governor's office, there are over 80,000 EVs registered in the state. Southern Pines Fire Chief Mike Cameron explains, while EV fires aren't more common than other vehicle fires, they are uniquely difficult to put out. That's why his department bought 2 of these fire blankets to help control battery fires.
We start taking some of the oxygen away, start taking that free burn away, it slows that fire down. The fire department still has to go in and put water on it. You still have to get to the batteries, you still have to put it out, but it helps us control it.
These fires, which is something I didn't realize until this reporting, can actually start back up even 30 days after the initial crash or fire. The blanket can then stay wrapped on those cars in that time to help control that issue. Some good news for travelers flying in and out of RDU. Here's a live look right now. The skies are looking pretty decent, and so are the planes taking off, because today the airport only saw 2 cancellations. That is the lowest number in nearly a week. It has been a mess out there. There were 109 delays at RDU, but still an improvement since that global tech outage caused a meltdown worldwide. Delta, which is right now under investigation for how it handled those delays and cancellations, stranding some passengers for days, is mostly back to normal. Meteorologist Mike Mays joins us. On top of the meltdown and all that stuff, we did have a lot of weather moving through. I mean, it was kind of a perfect storm, so to speak, out there. But fortunately, this current system is making its way out of here.
Yeah, and this is kind of the end of our wet pattern that evolved late last week that's been going on for over a week. And we've seen beneficial rainfall. It's helped whittle away at the drought. Now what's left of the rain that moved through our area here in the Triangle several hours ago, making its way closer to the coast. There's heavy rainfall. There's been flood advisories, thunderstorms. Nothing severe, but we have seen, of course, the flash flood warning that we had for Wake County and numerous reports of flooding here. This line continues to head down east toward the coast. We're not done with the rain just yet, at least not the entire viewing area. I think our southern counties will see the rain tomorrow. I'll have the look at futurecasts coming up. Eflin had 3.4 inches over the last 24 hours. Fuquay-Varina over 3 inches. North Raleigh, it should have said North Raleigh, but it only came out as North, 2.81. Goldsboro 1.65. RDU 1.47, bringing their total to 9.13 for the year, or 9.14, I should say. Fayetteville 1.03, not for the year, for the month, I should say, and Fayetteville 1.03. We've had quite a bit of rain. Gwinnett Stripers in town playing the Durham Bulls. They have dry weather, but it was a soaker earlier today. 78 after a high of 79 today. It was a really cool day here in the Triangle. You wouldn't know with all the humidity. It was very steamy. 76 Fayetteville after your 87, 73 at Goldsboro, 75 at Rocky Mount. So this front here will wipe everything away. Behind it, there's a northwest flow aloft that will dry us out, bring in lowered humidity this weekend, which will allow the morning lows to drop, perhaps into the mid-60s, lower to mid-60s on Sunday morning. We still have a flood watch that's been extended through 7 o'clock tomorrow evening because there is the concern that the front will be in this neighborhood tomorrow, dumping more heavy rainfall, which could end up into some localized flooding. So brand new run of Futurecast tomorrow morning at 6, showing some leftover showers in our eastern counties. By the time we get to lunchtime, there could be a few spotty showers toward Fayetteville and Rayford over into the Clinton area. As the day goes on, those showers will likely increase due to the frontal boundary being in the area. There's 4 o'clock. Here in the Triangle, just a small chance for a shower. 8 o'clock, date night tomorrow night. Just a small risk of running into a shower. And then perhaps tomorrow night there could be a shower. And early Saturday morning, a 20% chance for rain. Then after that, it's a dry weekend. So our forecast, early showers and storms, they're moving on out. Overnight, maybe a stray shower. 72 in Raleigh, 73 Fayetteville, 69 in South Hill. And then storms mainly in our southern counties tomorrow afternoon, although you can't rule out something locally here in the Triangle. But I think the majority will be focused in Fayetteville, Clinton, and Southern Pines and points in between. Great weekend. If you have to mow the lawn, you wash your car, don't worry about rainfall. Monday's still looking dry too, with a high temperature of 89. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week, showers and storms return, 40 to 50% chance. So I'm not looking like a big washout like what we had today, repeated next week as of right now.
Mow the lawn. Don't make me work, Mike. Don't make me work on my weekend. Thanks, Mike.
Still ahead, it's a busy week in sports. Chris Lee is in the Queen City.
Coming up next in sports, the Carolina Panthers fans had a few orders during the offseason. I'll show you how the team actually fulfilled those orders here at training camp. That's next. Welcome to sports here at Bank of America Stadium. I'm Chris Lee, where training camp is what's on tap here in Charlotte. And we got a feeling of what some of the new faces for the Carolina Panthers can provide. Get ready for a double shot of skill position players. Yesterday, head coach Dave Canales confirmed that Deontay Johnson will be the featured wideout on the team. But the Panthers didn't select Xavier Legette in the first round of the NFL draft back in April for nothing. Legette received a round of applause from the fans at training camp for making a highlight contested catch, the likes of which was absent from the Panthers' repertoire last season. Now Coach Canales is looking for the X-Man to showcase those skills consistently on the pro level.
There's a measure of, for all the young guys, show us. Show us you're working hard. Show us you're doing all the things the right way so that we can go in with full confidence and trust.
You just keep playing. Like, the ball gonna find you. As long as you're in the right spots, I'm sure at the end of the day they watching film, the quarterbacks watch film and whatnot. I'm sure the next time we get that play or whatever play it is, they're gonna come back to you.
And that's not all from Charlotte. We send it over to Pat Welter at the ACC kickoff. Chris Lee, WRAL Sports.
Going up.
We've sustained a level of competitive greatness that not many people have been able to do.
NC State with almost unprecedented hype at ACC kickoff, and they aren't hiding from the expectations. Not just double-digit wins, but the 12-team playoff.
What we did last year and the year before was good. You know, winning 9 games is good. We don't want to be good. We want to be the best.
Conversely, no one is expecting much from UNC, and Mack Brown is fine being under the radar.
I think we can have a good team. I don't want to talk about it. Everybody says you're not talking about your team. Well, if you talk about them, they're not any good, then you're stupid. And absolutely, there's not a coach up here that knows how good his team's going to be.
Many question whether Mack Brown should retire after last season, but hold that thought, because he says he's more excited than ever. Says he's got the energy, the experience, and most importantly, the purpose. Pat Welter, WRAL Sports. Back to you guys in Raleigh.
It is going to be football season before you know it. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Good night.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.